Yo, it's your Renegade Ringmaster, Frankie Slauson, and you've just crash-landed into Renegade Radio, the podcast that's part rock show, part fever dream, and 100% certified Midwestern mayhem. We've had guests that'll blow your mind and tickle your nostalgia bone. Paul Myers, brother of Mike Myers, talking John Candy and comedy gold. Bill Kinnison, brother of Sam Kinnison, dropping truth bombs like it's 1989. Ron Wasserman, the dude who made Go-Go Power Rangers a battle anthem. Jay David from Dr. Hook. Robbie V, son of Bobby V. Max Hightower, bluesman extraordinaire. And that's just the tip of the Renegade iceberg. And guess what? We go live every Monday night at 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Facebook. That's right, real-time Renegade action with Frankie and friends. Tune in, laugh hard, and maybe learn something weird.
When it comes to podcasts and social media, stick with the best. Grand Forks' best source. Keep up to date with local happenings and news, interviews with city leaders, athletes, nonprofits, and of course, lots of feel-good stories. You know, Grand Forks' best source is a great way to advertise your business or events with the most economical ad packages available. And contact us to find out how you can have your own podcast with the best studio in the area. Check out Grand Forks' best source on your favorite social media app. Grand Forks' best source, the Forks' best local podcast. Call 701-213-0863 or online at gfbestsource.com. We love the Forks. Grand Forks' best source, giving the Forks their identity again.
All right, now we can speak. I didn't mean to cut you off, by the way, either. I didn't know you were going to still see, it mutes you and stuff when you.
I didn't even know you did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It mutes your audio and stuff when I play a video. So.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that StreamYard does that, but that's what they do.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't coughing and snotting around here. I mean, that would have been obnoxious. That's a hell of an introduction.
Yeah, you could call me a fucker for all I know. I would have heard it.
I don't know you well enough to call you a fucker.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's all right.
But if you are, wear it like a badge.
That's right. A badge of honor. Well, I tell you what, man, this is going to be a fun interview because ever since we started talking last week, I remember hearing your voice, years ago, mostly because of the wrestling and everything, and WWE. And then I remember hearing you on Grand Theft Auto 4, doing some stuff. You must have did some stuff for Grand Theft Auto 4, or unless that was somebody else's voice.
I don't remember doing that. Yeah, I did when I was like 19 when I was doing stuff for HBO and Cinemax.
Okay.
And then for many years, I don't. Did I? I mean,
well, it's not Ed Weigle anyway on the GTA for his credits. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah.
You remember?
Well, I did have a stroke, so I mean, sometimes.
Okay. I bring back your memory. A thing called Weasel News, or Liberty City News or something, because Grand Theft Auto 4 was kind of like it's a very successful video game series.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto series, and I just remember hearing a voice that sounded just like yours anyway. And whether you did it or not.
The paycheck must not have been good enough that I remember it. So that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, I think a lot of people remember me for the legendary child music video for Aerosmith. Which I did back in 2012. And that was fun, because Steven Tyler wrote that stuff, and we had a blast with that. And we were supposed to do 5 more, and then that was like their first album in 12 years, and then Sony pulled the plug on it because I guess the sales sucked. And, I was kind of, I thought, damn, I look forward to that. I liked Aerosmith. But anyway.
So Ed, how would you, in a nutshell, kind of, for people that are learning about you or that don't know about you, how would you describe yourself, what would you describe yourself as? I mean, I know what you are, but what would to the average person listening or watching, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, I'm just a voice actor. I mean, I've been doing this for, in May, it'll be 46 years, because I was 13 when I got into it.
And usually you get into radio and then you become a voice actor because somebody says, hey, I'd like you to do my commercial. But I did everything bass backwards in my business. It's kind of like my middle name anymore. But I mean, I just, started doing that, and that led into radio and television and a career in that a lot. And then when I realized, looked at my paycheck, and I thought, what the hell are you doing in this goddamn business? Because you were making more money doing voiceover. So I went and did that exclusively years ago. And of course, I became the voice of World Wrestling Entertainment back in September of '01, actually. I started doing it. I was actually running 2 radio stations in Indianapolis. I was the operations manager, and then I was trying to do both, converted my office into a studio, and it became obvious that I had to do one thing. And a buddy of mine, the late, great Nick Summers, who was one of the best voice actors ever, he said, look, I need you down here in Florida. And I was actually his replacement at a company called Tour Design. And they're still around. They do a lot of the concert spots and stuff, and they're pretty much they're them and Bill Young Productions. And Nick, one of the deals that he had was Nick had to hire his replacement, which was me. And we'd always appreciated each other's work. And so I came in, and I thought he was moving his young family to Florida. I just didn't know where. And somebody told me, I think he's moving to Naples. And I thought, oh, okay, he's in Naples. What the hell? I moved to Naples. And he said, no, he's in Inglewood. Well, my family discovered this little place where I live now called Venice, Florida, in 1959 when Mom and Dad came down, and there was nothing here. And Inglewood is like a bike ride away, 15, 20 minutes or so. And I said, you're kidding me. It was the easiest move I ever made. So, I mean, that's how I came down here. And, we were doing all the stuff for WWE from Inglewood, Florida. And, I was with them for about 24 years until I got colon cancer and had a stroke, And
at the same time?
Well, yeah, when I was on chemo, that's when I had the stroke. Thankfully, you can see that I'm able to speak with you semi-coherently, I guess. But I mean, it was it was a rough time. But I got through it. I'm cured and cancer-free, and I'm still functional. But I don't, I'm not going to work that kind of a schedule anymore. But I knew, with all that nonsense, I knew I couldn't keep up with it. So we brought another guy in. Who filled in, I guess essentially replaced me. And then when I was well enough to come back, by that time, my friend Vince McMahon had a little issue. and anyway, he sold the company. And so I think the last WWE spot I did was, I think, December 30th for a gig we did in Detroit. And that was it, because we used to buy pretty much a regular schedule, radio, television, and then they would do all the social media. Well, I was never involved in the television or the social media. That was all done in-house in Titan Towers up in that's Stanford, yeah. Or it was done in New York. So, I mean, I really never had anything to do with that. So I guess I'm kind of still on the clock here and there. But
yeah, I mean, that's what's kind of strange about it, because it's like, now that you really think about it, or now that you've said it, it's like, I can remember hearing your voice, like, but see, maybe that's where I got the confusion, because like a lot of times when people would, like, the narrator would do like the trailer and stuff, or the opening of the events or whatever, for the pay-per-views or the PLEs that we call them now, or whatever. Everybody tried to almost be like the last person that used to work there. So it's like everybody kind of sound like they sound like how they're supposed to in telling a story of how this pay-per-view is supposed to go and everything. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure, I swear I've heard your voice before in that, unless it was somebody else's, but it's
like I say, about 46 years now, so I bet you have.
Oh, yeah.
That's why people think, my God, this guy's got to be older than fucking dirt. And I'm only 58.
You have a voice of an old guy. You don't sound like it. I mean, I know you're 58, but I mean, like, you had this voice forever, obviously.
Well, I had it even as a kid, and that's why I when I started out on radio, I was playing oldies and doo-wop back in Pittsburgh on the radio.
Yeah.
And they would never let me do the personal appearances because they see a 15-year-old face, they're going to think, what the hell is going on here? And
so your voice was just like this when you were a little kid?
Online, you'll find maybe very early interviews of me, and I really don't think my voice has changed all that much. Even as I was, like I say, I was 13 when I got into voiceover, and then 15 when I went to radio. And
so you'd still be in school though. I mean, how did you manage to do that and go to school at the same time?
Well, mom and dad, they'd give me a ride to the station. When I turned 16, I had a car. Of course, before then, I was doing DJ gigs and stuff, different appearances around town. It was great because all I had to do is pick up the phone. When Dad told me, he said, I'm going to buy you your first car. I said, you know something I'd rather have is a reel-to-reel tape machine that I was looking at. It was a Studer Revox. And he said, a reel-to-reel? You don't want a car? I said, no. I said, I can pick up the phone. Anybody's going to drive me anywhere because all I got to do is throw them $20 and they'll help me out with what I'm doing. And I ended up getting both. But I mean, and I still have the reel-to-reel. It's somewhere in this mess.
Wow.
But but that's car's long gone. But,
I can imagine. Yeah, man. So your childhood
it was
have
an
been
81 Honda Accord. What the hell was it? Accord. Was it a Honda Accord? Yeah, I guess it was. Okay, whatever.
See, because now I was born in '83, so I'm 42 right now. I just turned 42.
You're just a child.
Oh yeah, just a baby, like everybody keeps saying. It's like, yeah, I feel like it's
not a child. Obviously, you've come a long way from that, but I've got I'm looking at believe it or not, my 11th grandchild coming up.
Oh wow!
My son and little girl who live here with us. I mean, they're expecting. So I mean, it's
that's cool.
Fun.
Well, yeah. Since I got to know you a little bit, I've been following your posts on Facebook and stuff, and it's like, you're definitely an interesting. I mean, I would love to hang out with you for a day and see what it's like because I feel you're a very interesting person.
It's a polite way of saying he's a fucking goofball.
No. No, I have more respect for you than that. Jeez.
Well, thank you. My wife will call me that.
Cats and everything and all that. You obviously are an animal lover. You have a lot going on, but just as a semi-retired guy, because you're probably about semi-retired, like you talked about, and you're taking a lighter schedule. I mean, you're making more time for things. Have you always just been kind of working for yourself type of person, or I mean, you had to work for other people, obviously, but like, mostly from your own home or whatnot?
Well, I mean, this is it. To my right is a whisper room where I do all the stuff. I mean, because I'm currently the voice of the Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team, the NHL hockey team. And I do a lot of other things for different people, a lot of radio stations around the world, really. And so, I just, I do as much as I want to because I will never get to the point where, I'm getting, like it was with WWE. A lot of times I'd get like 40 spots. And I never used a script because I knew what was going on. I would basically produce it, voice it, send it out, get it approved by the promoter, and off it would go to the radio station within, a couple days. And I knew there's no way in hell I can do, and I don't want to do that now. I don't want to do that. I go in fact, I don't produce anything since the stroke.
Okay,
at least that's my excuse. Whether it's true,
Well,
but I mean, I'll go in and voice things all day long for somebody, and then send them the voice track and let you produce it. And,
well, see, I kind of like your method to that because now that you've started to slow down a little bit because of just how things have been, I feel like that's kind of what killed Hulk Hogan. Not to slow him down, but like he kept on going and going and going, and he had all these surgeries and everything. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, it's sad that it happened, but I think it's just. Yeah. He never settled down. He felt like people were going to forget about him and all that. I felt it anyway.
Well, he was a hard worker. I mean, I knew Hulk, And I liked him. He was a great guy. I when did the last, I was a little disappointed in Hulk that he didn't show up for Mean Gene Okerlund's memorial service, because Gene was a dear friend of mine and Colleen's. But I mean, the last time I saw him, it was up at Universal. Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother, had sent me and Irene Gottlieb up there because we were looking at doing a music show on MTV. Can you imagine that?
Oh, wow.
Not a bunch of pregnant teenagers and all that other horse shit, but we were actually doing music back on fucking MTV.
That's right. That's right.
So we went up there, and I totally forgot that TNA, was it? Or I mean, I'm walking past Kurt Angle and Eric Bischoff, and I'm like,
Sure.
oh, I forgot they were up here shooting this thing. It would have been such a great thing, because you have busloads of people coming in there. They've got all these sound stages. I could have been really at home there had this show worked out. But you got a million concepts of shows out there.
Yeah.
And literally they and I ran into Hulk up there, and it was right after that damn video of him stooping that Putz's wife.
Okay.
Who I won't even name. I don't even care for the man at all. But I mean, anyway, I'm like, oh geez, what am I going to say? Nice dick. But anyway, and he said, "What the hell are you doing up here?" So I explained to him what we were doing.
That's something me and Gene would probably have said.
Well, Gino would have appreciated it. I mean, but we. So anyway, that was the last time we really spoke. But I mean, I always liked him. He was a good man, I thought.
Oh yeah.
And, but sadly, the TV show never went off. We were supposed to have like the sons and daughters of famous singers and whatever. We were supposed to incorporate that into it, and it got into an argument at MTV where the producer and the creator didn't like each other, and finally they just threw their hands up and said, "No thanks." And that was it. And I said, shit, we could have put music back on MTV. It really pissed me off.
Oh, damn close, I tell you.
And I was supposed to be the announcer,
Oh, wow. Well, you would have been a good announcer, because maybe that would have brought people more.
I'd have had a blast. Yeah, I'd have had a blast. But, all these, I was supposed to be in New York City, twice over the years. And every time something went wrong at the 11th hour. And now, when the last time I was up in New York was for a negotiation with WWE. And I said, there was a time I would have killed to live in New York City. Now, this car ride is going to kill me because I'm white knuckled on there. I'm like, get me the hell out of here. Let's get back to the airport and fly back to Venice, Florida. So, God, no thanks. I'm a small town boy now. I mean, no. Those days are over.
I've never been to New York. I've been to the West Coast before, but never to California. The farthest has always been like Oregon or Washington, because I took the Amtrak train a few years ago to go over there. Yeah. I've never been to New York, though. And I just, it's kind of funny because now when WWE comes and does their tours or whatever, they don't come to Grand Forks or Fargo anymore. And I'm only like 45 minutes from Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Really?
So it's like,
I know we used to do shows there all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember that. But the last show that I ever went to was in 2019, August of 2019. They did it at the Ralph Engel Center or at the Alaris Center, and it wasn't packed, but it was still a house show for a Saturday afternoon or whatever, all right. And it was just like, I don't understand. It's like ever since COVID and all that stuff, WWE and AEW hasn't even been over here yet. I mean, they keep going to either Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's it. They don't come to anything else, around.
Well, if Jim Ross is watching this, I just ordered a shitload of your barbecue sauce the other day, pal. That's the best. I mean, there's an endorsement. Jim, you got to pay me for that now.
Yeah, well, that's a guy that I would love to interview. There's a lot of people over the years that I'm surprised that I've had a chance to interview. I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of the stuff that I did or not.
Yeah. Well, I did the promo for it. I thought, oh, really? You interview this guy, Sam Kinison, and all these other people?
Well, cool. Sam Kinison's brother. Not
Sam. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's just all through connections, and especially from doing the podcast and everything. But I have over 20 years. I have over 20 years of radio history of just doing
Mhm.
interviews and stuff and other shows and whatever. And I wanted to be like the next Wolfman Jack. Even back when I first went to college, I didn't want to be a salesman. I didn't understand why everybody wanted to make people salespeople. I just
Well,
wanted
you
to be
got
in
a
the
beard anyway. I mean,
well, I never. This took a while to grow too. It's like, but in my younger days, though, when I was I was 18 in 2002 when I graduated from high school, and I decided to go to broadcasting school to try it out because I didn't know we had a college that actually offered broadcasting. I didn't know
right.
that.
Yeah.
It's been around for a long time since the 60s. I had
Yeah.
no clue, and so I tried it out, and I was nervous a little bit because I was born with a cleft palate. And that means that you have a hard time speaking, and
Right.
sometimes you sound more nasally than you really are in your life. And it wasn't
Uh-huh.
a bad cut ballot, but it was just like I still kind of have a hole in the roof of my mouth. So
Hmm.
I had speech and I had special ed and all that throughout my school time and whatnot. But like during the college years, uh, I was kind of afraid to do the cassette checks, the air checks that we used to do back in the day. I'm sure you
Right.
know what I'm talking about because you got hundreds of thousands of hours of hearing your voice and everything. But like for a guy like me, my voice was not that good for radio at that time. And I think after I volunteered and really put more effort into it after being gone from it for a little
Yeah.
bit, it gave me the chance to sound more, to sound more like professional because a lot of people nowadays when they hear me talk, they don't hear a cleft palate. They don't hear much
Well,
nasally.
I certainly don't, and I don't think you have a bad voice at all. And did you ever meet Wolf, by the way?
No, no. But
Oh, yeah.
his nephew is in one is my crew one of my crew members.
Really? Oh God.
Yeah.
I loved him. He came my mentor was a guy back home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a guy named Porky Chedwick, who's he's not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he's in that radio thing.
Extra wing maybe the black wing or
The
something.
hell's it called? Yeah, dedicated to the one I love. It's called where you can actually go into the Hall of Fame and listen to air checks. He's in there. I
Oh,
think he's the only Pittsburgh jock in there. But Porky preceded all of them, including Alan Freed, because he started in 1948 at a
oh,
place called
sure.
WHOD in Homestead, which became Whammo in Pittsburgh. And
Oh,
he had a brain tumor. In fact, yesterday I just received his rocking chair, which is out in my living room right now.
okay. I saw
Um,
you saw a
yeah,
photo of that.
and you might have yeah, that's where I think my little girl is probably going to nurse the baby. But it was so great. I mean, finally got that damn thing down there. But when Porky had a brain tumor back in the '90s, Wolfman came in for nothing and emceed the show, sang, had a great time. What a wonderful man he was. What a great
Oh
guy.
man.
And then he was on his damn book tour, ran himself down, came home, and basically collapsed in his wife's Lou's arms, dead of a heart attack.
On
That
the
was
Independence Day too.
what was
95,
it? Was it really? Yeah, I
30
don't
years
remember the
ago.
exact
Over
date, but
30 years ago.
oh my. But what a
Yeah.
sweet man. What a wonderful guy.
See, that's a guy that wasn't afraid of making a legacy for himself because whether he knew
No.
what he was doing or not, because most of us don't know what we're doing until we finally figure it out. But it's like I'm kind of like that too. Where for me, it's like I know I'm not nobody. I'm not trying to get a big head about anything or whatnot. But I get a little humbled, when I'm able to do interviews nowadays because and I have ever since I started because it made me feel more closer to people that I actually respect in the industry.
Sure.
The hardworking men and women. That some people, or some people that you might know, some people you might not know, some of the
Right.
underdogs, of the entertainment industry. But it's pretty much it's fun. I enjoy it. And you talk about me and Gene. I actually interviewed him twice. I interviewed him back in
Did you
2014.
really?
Yeah,
Oh
2014, and then
my.
there's a interview from 2015, the day after the 2015 Royal Rumble that Roman
Yeah?
Reigns won. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
literally was
God.
chatting with him. Yeah, so when he
I
passed away, I was surprised. That I was heartbroken.
I really wasn't expecting it. Because we used to get together, Colleen and I mean, I would get a call from him usually Tuesday morning and say, Eddie, It's Gino. Show up at Moe's, 4 o'clock, and bring the tomato. Meaning my wife, the tomato. And so we go down there, have a couple drinks, or have a, we used to take him out on when I worked for Nick Summers, he had a boat, and Gene would show up with like half the Publix deli, and then a big handle of what was it? Not Sky, but one of the vodka things. And if we didn't catch fish, by God, we caught a buzz.
I kind of figured that, he seemed like he was kind of a party guy, like always a party guy, always in a good mood. Never really saw him in a bad mood ever. I loved him when he announced. I loved how he interviewed. I mean, he just constant professional.
He was just the best. I mean, he was just a wonderful, sweet man, and I miss him.
He was born 4 or 5 hours away from where I'm from.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. He's because he had a place up there, and I think Jeannie sold it. Jeannie, his wife.
It's not there no more.
Yeah,
it was at like a local casino or gas station.
Yeah.
I've been there before. On my way home.
Yeah,
I used to live in South Dakota. I used to live in Rapid City. Too.
He was an old agency promoter guy, and people, they always said, what you guys talk about? Anything but wrestling. We always talked about radio and all that crap because he was a Coil guy, Koil guy, and we talk more about radio than we talk about wrestling. I mean, I knew everything I needed to know about that.
He was also a musician too. Like he actually did.
Yeah, he was a singer.
He actually did. So I had some stuff on Spotify that I found.
Well, he was a singer. I mean, back I think in the early '60s, he had a group that. He was a talented son of a bitch. I love him. I mean,
and how he got to wrestling, I'm still kind of shocked. Oh God, because he doesn't. I mean, he didn't look like a wrestling announcer or like a wrestling interviewer.
I think Vern Gagne's company
needed
AWA? Somebody, and they said we need an announcer, bring a suit, because I think he was with the ad agency that was promoting their stuff at that time, and I think that's how that came from. I might be if I'm misquoting, somebody will correct me, I'm sure, but I mean, I think that's how it was. But I mean, you'd have loved him. You'd have loved him.
Oh, I'm sure I would have, because when we did the interviews, I wasn't sure what was going to come from that. I just let it ride a bit, because that's normally what I do anyway. I just whatever happens.
He rolled with the punches, man. He was one of the best. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So with you working for WWE or the WWF at the time, before it went to WWE, I mean, were you always a lifelong wrestling fan? I imagine.
Growing up in Pittsburgh, we used to have wrestling on, what was it, Saturdays or Sundays or something or other, and it was hosted by a guy named Bill Cardill, Chilly Billy, and Bill used to have a horror show at night on television as well, and WWF wanted to hire him to go on the road for a time. But Chilly Billy, you'll see him in the original Night of the Living Dead. He's the news announcer. Okay. And then on the one that Tom Savini directed in, what was it, 90, Bill was on there with just a different toupee. And he was, I mean, we watched wrestling. Bruno Sammartino was from my hometown, Pittsburgh. And, wrestling was everywhere. Wrestling was probably, I don't know if people realize, but wrestling was one of the first features on television when it came out, because it was so inexpensive to produce. And so, it was everywhere. And it was one of the first things that people watched.
Are you talking after they were talking about it was like after the whole, they thought it was like a circus thing at the time. Or whatever, more like entertainment like that, like vaudeville type of stuff at that time.
Well, it was just something that was very cheap to produce in the early days of television. Back when, on the Dumont Television Network, you had Haystacks Calhoun, you had Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and, probably the Fabulous Moolah. I mean,
Sure.
you had all those people, and it was cheap to produce, and they would have rings a lot of times at the television stations where they would bring the guys in and they would just do their thing, and that lasted. I bet you it lasted well into the 70s. I know in Pittsburgh it must have. But we used to watch it. I mean, became a semi fan and everything else. And of course, when the WWF came up and basically took it national, that's when I really, really took notice to it. And
Sure.
I never thought I'd be working for them in any capacity. But then again, the funny thing is, I mean, I'm probably known more as a voiceover guy for sports, and I don't follow sports. My wife, she's a Bostonian. She follows Boston sports. She finds, but I don't. I don't know. We'll watch ball games and everything else, and I'm the hockey announcer, and there are a lot of parts of that game I don't get. I don't know
Me
all
too.
the
Me
nuances of what they're doing. So I mean, I'm just having fun. I mean, I'm just there. For me, sports used to be just an excuse to drink beer.
Sure, sure. But if you're talking about music or something like that, like on the radio or whatever,
Yeah.
that would be more your interest because it seems like you're kind of old school. You kind of like because I'm old school too when it
I'm
comes
I'm
to
too old
music.
school, actually. Yeah.
Well,
My
hey, I grew up. My
my
dad got me into Buddy Holly. That was the first artist that I
Oh,
got.
there you go. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, one of the early guys. Absolutely. Sure.
So I mean, with Bobby V and all that, or Robbie V,
Well,
that's
I
Bobby
saw
V's
that
audio.
Bobby
Yeah.
V. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Because yeah, I mean, he was his hits were in the early '60s. I mean, and
Well,
he's passed
because
he's
they're
passed
all
away.
close from
Yeah.
the area where I'm from. I'm not
Sure.
that far from Fargo.
Yeah.
I live in northern Minnesota, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm not that far from everybody.
Well, I worked with a lot of the early groups, certainly back in Pittsburgh. I used to be kind of a road manager for the Marcells, and they did a
Oh,
song called Blue Moon, Bomba Ba
oh
Bomba,
yes.
Bomba Bomba, and
Uh-huh.
the bass man was one of my dearest buddies in the world. He's passed away a few years ago, and
Sure.
the Skyliners and the Vogues and the
Wow.
Fenways and and so I used to do a lot of that, and of course that's what I played on the radio back in Pittsburgh when I first started out, and
Did they ever
naturally
let you sing? Did they
people
ever
thought I
let you
was
sing
there.
with?
What's that?
Did they ever let you sing with them at all? Because you seem like you could actually do the whole Blue Moon chorus, the whole
Some
Blue Moon.
somewhere there's a video of me with Freddie, and I probably had, I don't know, maybe a couple or too many scotch and sodas or something, and I'm singing lead. And I
Oh,
forget the lyrics. I said, "This is why I never sang because I totally forgot." And I rehearsed. I used to manage the band that backed them, and I couldn't remember the damn lyrics. And there I am, and Freddie's doing his blah blah blah, and then a buddy of mine's shooting it, and it's up on social media somewhere where I'm
okay.
singing, and I have no business singing at all. But I mean,
Well,
but
it's just
yeah,
because your voice is so bassy, so it's like automatically bassy, so you have that gift if you're gonna do any low end stuff.
yeah. Well, but
Mhm.
Freddie was the bass man. He was singing the bass, and I was doing the the tenor
Yeah,
lead. So
I'm
no,
sure, sure,
no,
sure.
I have no business doing that ever again. If I ever do, shoot me.
So what was that experience? What was that experience like to be around all these groups and all these talented individuals and everything, for that sort of for
They
part
were
of your
they,
time?
they they were just my friends. They were just people I'd known a lot of the years. I mean, I don't what was it? I mean, I don't know. They were just people. You know, they were just people.
But
I mean,
you didn't think of them as talented
I
individuals. You with your
well,
friends and everything.
I grew up with Mr. Rogers and Arnie
Uh-huh.
Palmer, and my mother was a
Sure.
nurse anesthetist at a hospital in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and so I mean, a lot of these people I met through her, and ultimately I ended up I was doing a national ad campaign with Arnie Palmer for 84 Lumber, and
Oh,
that was I would say that was probably the only pairing of two Latrobe High School graduates ever in a national advertising campaign, which we did back in the mid '90s, I guess. But Mr. Rogers was just a wonderful man. I mean,
Legend.
last and that Tom Hanks movie was right on the money. Last time I saw Mr. Rogers was at the AFTRA, which is the Union Radio and Television Union, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Now it's SAG-AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild.
Sure.
But it was at Channel 11, or I'm sorry, Channel 13, WQED in Pittsburgh. And I ran into him and I said, Mr. Rogers, how you doing? He said, well, how have you been? Because I used to see him and he'd ask, how's school? Well, good was not an answer because he said, no, who do you see? Who do you know? What you do? And you'd be on there talking about your school day for 20 minutes. I'm like, well, this got to bore the balls off this guy. But that was just the way it was. So anyway, I said, Mr. Rogers, how? He goes, how long have we known each other? I said, well, probably since I was old enough to stand. He said, you can call me Fred. I said, no, I can't. And I meant it. I could not. And he was just the nicest, wonderful man. And I remember at that same Channel 13, the after 50th, I was supposed to take this real hot blonde that I was going out with at the time. She couldn't make it. So somebody talked me into taking this other chick. So I took her, and she had I don't know how many glasses of champagne. And they had all of the X the Owls, the tree, and the train, and all the props from because, right there at Channel 13 where they shot the thing.
Yeah.
And she goes and trips and falls into X the Owl's tree. Me and another broadcaster, we grabbed it and put it up. I said, that's the quickest way to be the most hated motherfucker in America if you fuck up X the Owl's tree.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
But we saved it. We were good. Yeah, that's an absolute true story. And
so Mr. Rogers allowed alcohol.
Well, yeah, you could get everybody was boozing it up. But I mean, but I don't think Fred ever knew that story.
Well, what surprised me is that did Fred drink at all? Was he a big drinker? Because he didn't seem like he was.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Okay.
But but they had a bar. It was an after. It was the big 50th anniversary. So
Sure, it's a celebration. Of course.
Let's face it. We broadcasters are pretty big boozers.
Well, I didn't know that till now. I tell you.
Oh no! Oh well. Well, come on for happy hour.
Hey, salute. I'm drinking a root beer.
This ain't apple juice.
No. This ain't root beer. You will drink beer. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Been a fun ride.
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose around that time, did you also? I mean, you probably knew Michael Keaton too because he's from Pittsburgh. He worked with.
I've never. Well, I know he did. Yeah, but I never met him. He was just back in town because they have a Walk of Fame in town, and he was back to accept his little attribute a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I've never met him. No,
okay,
he's one that I never had any connection.
Well, when I found out that he was working for Fred Rogers back in the day, that's just like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Good, great actor.
So with you being in the industry for as long as you have, I mean, who are some of your heroes in the voiceover world? You gotta have some.
The voiceover world. Wow. Well, there were a lot of them that I looked up to. In fact, I just heard from Charlie Van Dyke. His cat just passed away, and I just happened to post something up there. And Charlie, he was on Los Angeles radio for many years, and Ernie Anderson, who was the voice of ABC, tonight it's the Love Boat. He used to do that. He was I was a big fan of his. I mean, there's so many of them, and when you get into the business, I mean, you're so influenced by these people that you become an amalgam of all of them at some point, and I guess I'm no exception.
I'm sure you're somebody's hero. I'm sure somebody looked up to you to get a job in the industry. Probably you just don't know it. Probably.
I no, I don't, but I appreciate it if that's the case. I mean, I'm grateful. Believe me. I mean, if I was able to influence anybody in a positive way, then by all means, I'm delighted.
Well, yeah. I mean, because you've done so much stuff. I mean, that's why I'm surprised that you're not a. I mean, more like known, like more in Hollywood, like TMZ. Oh, we're
I
doing
don't
the
want to be
latest
known.
report on Ed. It's like
I don't want that. I don't want that. I mean, if people
nobody wants
recognize,
that. But
no, if people know my voice and appreciate what I did, they don't need to know who Ed Weigel is. When I walk in, I don't look for that. No, that's just not me. I
so
mean,
no upcoming documentary, no upcoming movie or book. Or
no. I was supposed to do a couple movies. I remember there was one, and I won't name it, but and the director was very well known. And anyway, my friend Irene signed me up for it, and she said, "Well, you just have to sign this thing that said you'll do it." And they went through all these stars, and I mean, there was Bill Murray, um, Joanne Woodward, and whatever. I said, "Jesus Christ, Irene!" I said it was an actor. I didn't say it was a good one. And as it turned out, well, the two people who were supposed to star in it died within a day of each other. And I will not say who they are. You can figure that out. Yeah.
Okay.
And that was kind of the end of the project. And it kind of it irritated me. It was I think we're supposed to shoot it in Florida somewhere. But I mean, I thought I would
Very recent
love
or very recent?
in the last few years, yeah. It was I will say it was a mother and a daughter.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I know. What you're
yeah.
talking about.
Yep.
I think I have an idea.
And the son was supposed to direct.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. And I thought, damn, I wish that would have happened. But it didn't. But I mean, that would have been
had these people have done it, it probably would have changed your life even more. Probably.
Well, I was supposed to play an announcer. I wasn't going to have a big part. I mean, I say, I'm not Laurence Olivier, but I mean, I was going to have a part, and I thought, holy shit, all these people are talking about all these names and wonderful people who I do respect for their what they do, but again, I'm a voice guy.
Yeah, but what about like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, since you had some radio career and everything, and also did all these, all these voices for everything, and all that. I don't interest you either at all. Or
I've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In fact,
but to be a part of it, to be part of like their be a member, be an actual like Hall of Famer because of everything that you've done.
Well, I've not done anything to merit being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, my mentor Porky Chedwick isn't even inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's on, and he was before Alan Freed and everybody in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he's not in there. It's such a political piece of shit. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not a fan. I will say it's a beautiful museum. They've got one of the nicest broadcast studios I've ever worked out of. But as far as they lost their manifest years ago in the fact that they wanted to honor the people, the founders of rock and roll, of that music. And something went dreadfully wrong. Sure. Because there are a lot of people who really belong in there. And they're putting these fucking assholes who have had one hit and some just because they're popular. They're basically they're playing to the younger crowd, I think.
Well, it's almost kind of like if
nobody's going to know the Johnny Maestro and the Crest. Nobody's going to know the Skyliners. Nobody's going to know a lot of these groups that really were founders of the business. It's political. 100% political, and I hope you cocksuckers are watching this too.
Well, it's kind of like the Super Bowl. Like even if you don't follow sports, you kind of know that what's been going on in the Super Bowl every year for the last 5 or 6 years. That's been nothing but rap groups and everything.
Yeah. Bullshit. Doesn't belong. Should be the Music Hall of Fame. Change it to the Music Hall of Fame. But yeah, you just oh boy, you just pissed me the hell off with that con. But I mean, yeah, I mean you struck a chord with me because that's really something that irritates the piss out of me
Oh,
about the Rock and Roll Hall
oh,
of Fame. You know,
yeah. I mean,
it's you know,
well, I mean, I feel the same way because I've been paying attention to it too, and it's just like it just doesn't make any sense. It
yeah,
should just be
no,
called the Music
not at
Hall of Fame.
all.
I understand that. Yeah,
No, not at all, not at all. So I mean, yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, you got the old German Pittsburgher coming up there.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm
We'll talk
obviously
about that.
I'm not yelling at anybody here. I'm just saying,
No, no,
Rock
no,
and Roll
no.
Hall of Famers. If you put these people in there, if you have any influence, right here.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, like I was saying before, I mean, you did a lot of work in the WWE. What's some of your favorite spots that you've done, or
Wow,
promotions that you've done that you can remember?
well, we did. I mean, I did everything. I mean, from 1990 or what did I say? 2001 until
Yeah, yeah.
well, really before I got sick with cancer and had to pull out a little bit. All the pay-per-views, WrestleManias. I mean, I've attended WrestleManias. I don't really think that there's any, one thing in particular that I did that really stands out.
Okay.
It was kind of day to day. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of day to day. I mean, when I would attend them, I mean, that was fun. But I don't remember anything.
I imagine they treated you pretty good as far as give you a really good seat and everything, or did you have a skybox up to?
Well, we'd be in the box with the promoters.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't really work. I mean, I didn't work with. I mean, I worked with live events department. I would see some of the superstars that we had, and I got along with many of them. They were nice people, really nice people.
Were they aware of your work? Were they aware that you were the guy, the announcing guy?
In many cases, yeah, they were. Okay. In many cases, they were. I mean, Kurt Angle is from Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And I got to know him a little bit, and I said, the funny thing is, I said, we used to hang around at the same clubs. How the hell we never met, I don't know. But I mean, I'd see him around. Of course, Gene Okerlund, one of my dearest friends for forever. And Hulk, I knew Hulk for many years. I don't know. It was just part of the gig.
Just good times, I mean,
yeah.
And now it seems like nowadays with the new ownership and everything, they want to charge people like you gotta get like a loan from the bank to get a front row ticket. They want to charge $11,000 for the John Cena last match at the Saturday Night's Main Event coming up.
I'm not even going to comment on that, but you're right. You're right. And a lot of people, I remember a person who I worked with said, it was once upon a time, it was a family business. Now it's a totally different atmosphere working there. And, and you'll have that because a big corporation just, took it over and made it into their own. But that's, that happens. That happens. And I'm not knocking them at all. I mean, it's just what happens. And
are you familiar with are you familiar with AEW at all? You ever watch AEW at all or anything?
I don't hardly even watch television anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't. I mean, I really don't. I don't. I mean, I used to have to literally when I would put the WWE spots together, I had a recording device on the television because a lot of times I would call up to Connecticut.
Okay.
And I'd say, I need voice bites from this person, but they'd send me a bunch of crap. I can't use this. So I'd tape it myself, and they're like, yeah, go ahead. I had carte blanche when I would produce those things like you wouldn't believe. And they'd say, just do what you do. Just do what you do. And, that's kind of the way my voiceover career is right now, because I mean, people know what I'm going to do. If I look at a piece of copy, I know where it's going to go. And there's like, just be you.
Okay.
And that means you've had a career and you're ready to die. So
no.
Yeah, be yourself.
what I was going to say is like, okay, so I mean, obviously there's been lots of things that you've done, but is there ever been something you said to yourself that I can't do this? This is just going to get me in trouble if I do this or whatever, or if
Not
it's worded
really.
weird or
Well,
asked to do some really weird request, we'll say.
not really. There was a fun
Okay.
session I did for Peru, of all places, and it was for a cable company. And they wanted me to talk like Daffy Duck and like you have a speech impediment. I said, they would shit a brick if you tried this over here in the United States. People would be busting you. But I had a blast doing it. And it's up on social media somewhere. I said,
Okay.
they said, can you talk like Daffy Duck? I said, you got to be kidding. Really? I go, okay, give it a shot. And that was fun. That was fun. But it was cool. Yeah, because again, you never knew who was going to be on the other end of that phone whenever they would call and ask for some ridiculous stuff. I mean, in the Aerosmith music video that I did, Legendary Child, first album in 12 years. Got a call one day. Guy said, my name is Casey, and I'm sitting here with Steven Tyler, and we've got your demo tape, and we'd like you to do some music videos with us. I'm like, what the fuck? And he said, are you in front of a TV, or are you in front of your monitor? I said, yeah. He goes, look me up. I looked him up. By God, the guy was legitimate. And so
Okay.
Stephen wrote a straight version of the narration. If you go online and look up Legendary Child music video by Aerosmith.
I actually did hear that. I
Yeah.
watched it before I got to know you.
Yeah. And then he wrote a straight version, and then Steven said, "No, I want to take this, beyond the goofiness."
Yeah.
And so then he rewrote it, and that's what we went with. Sadly, what happened was, Sony Records nixed the other music videos because the on sale sucked,
Oh,
and it was a shame. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've never spoken to any of the guys with Aerosmith, and we got two of them living down here in Sarasota. I think Stephen has a place, and I know Steve Perry. I think Steve Perry has a place in Bird Key.
Or
Bird
Tyler
Key
Perry.
down-
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's Tyler Perry. Maybe it's not Tyler Perry. Maybe it's Steve Perry. Yeah, Steve Perry, that's with Journey, I think, or whatever, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? Steve Perry. What in the hell am I thinking of? I mean, Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
You know who I'm
Yeah,
talking
Joe
about.
Perry, I
What the
think
hell.
it is. I think.
Joe Perry.
I think
Joe
it's
Perry.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I love Aerosmith. Aerosmith's always been a
Yeah.
good band to me.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for doing this interview. I got one more question to ask you. This is probably the most personal question I'm going to ask you. But it has to do with your career. So compare back in the day to now. Like, how was it like when you would record something, like that process, and explain to people like the changes from like how much easier it is now to do what you do compared to back in the day.
Well, I mean, years ago when I was doing this stuff for HBO and Cinemax, I would have to wait for FedEx or Purelator or somebody to come and pick up a physical tape that they would have to deliver to New York City.
Sure.
And, this microphone I'm using right now, there's a story behind it. It used to be an on-air microphone at KDKA Radio in Pittsburgh. The audio director at KDKA Television was a dear friend of mine, and he hated the microphone I was using when I was doing the HBO and stuff. He gave me this microphone because they would pull these microphones out of there and they'd let them rot over at the KDKA transmitter site. So he had this thing re-ribboned and given to me, and I'm still using it. And that was in 1985. Yeah, and here it is. Boom, boom, boom. And so, but anyway, I was using, the technology was different. I mean, it was all analog. We had no digital. I think I probably had one of the first digital machines that I used to do when I was doing the 84 Lumber stuff with Arnie Palmer, which was a little 4-track. And boy, was that a pain in the ass, because you had to dub off every single one of them. No MP3s. Now, if I have to have 500 copies of something, all I got to do is make an MP3, and boom, out the door through email they go. So it was a real royal pain in the ass to do it, and people don't understand that because you're younger than I am, and you don't remember what it was to even queue up a turntable. Well,
yeah,
you
I never
might,
had
but
that
yeah.
experience at all. Well, I mean,
Oh God, yeah.
by the time I got in, they were just getting rid of.
Well, it was a quarter turn for a 45, so the thing wouldn't skip. So that was that's how you did. And I forget what it was for a 33.
Yeah. No, they were getting rid of carts by the time I got there. They started using the computer for
And the
MP3s.
carts, yeah. Oh yeah. I got cart machines. I got cart machine right behind me. I don't know if there it is.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. That's about
Like a
1960.
proton
Yeah, I had a guy down here in Tampa re-engineer that thing for me because I have some old carts I was trying to get some stuff off of.
Oh.
And I've had that damn thing for 40 years. So yeah, but I had cart machines, and a cart is cartridge. For those of you not in radio, we call them carts because here's one. They look like an 8-track, but they're not. See, there's no pincher head in there, and you just pop them in there, and the head pops up, and that's what runs your tape. That's how it works. So I needed to get some stuff off some of these carts, and he was kind enough to put this thing together again for me. But I'll probably never use it again. I think I paid him like $700 to fix the fucking thing. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
But I do remember too how easy it was. Like, because in the studio that I was at the college, they had us for a class anyway, make a commercial and put it on a tape. But I also remember they also had a machine that was a magnet. Like if you were close to that magnet, that it was going to erase all your stuff.
Yeah, it's a degosser. It's a magnetic thing, and you would take those things and run them over there, and it would erase the tape. You had to watch, and you had to do it well, because if you didn't, when you tried to re-record over this, if you didn't do it well enough, you'd have bloop, 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 in the middle of the goddamn spot, and you'd make a mess of it. Yeah, it was. God, I don't even own a degosser. Now I want to get one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Well, Christmas time's coming, so what the heck?
Jeez. But
man, I appreciate this. I really, really do, because I mean, you didn't have to say yes, but I'm glad you did.
Oh, and I'm glad you asked me.
I feel like I got a friend for life, because you just so sweet and everything.
I'll help you out in whatever way I can, my friend.
I didn't mean to piss you off with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't know you felt that way about it. I had no clue. So
I'm not pissed off. I am on their end. Not to you, but I just don't like the whole concept of their selection process and all the political horse shit that they put a lot of the people who truly should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I don't give a fiddler's fuck who knows it too. And particularly those who make the decisions. And I'll go to my grave saying that.
Well, hopefully not anytime soon, though.
I hope not too. I'm not planning on checking out here. I mean, not ready to grab my hat yet. Not ready for a toupee either. But that's.
But hey, I like I said, I do appreciate it, and I'll never forget this, my friend. This was quite the honor.
Anytime.
All right.
Hope everybody has a great time, and thanks for dealing with.
Yeah. Doing all these things that we do, right? Everybody, this is me, Frankie Sauce, along with Ed Weigle, and we'll see you again for another great interview here on Frankie Sauce's Renegade Radio.
You got it, buddy. Anytime.
They were having high school.
Our guest is here.
Oh, cool.
Good morning.
Good morning there, Mr. Stenmark from there. How's it going?
This is cool, man.
Wow, that's kind of different, I would figure you'd put your name on there, but Stenmark from there, that works for you too. How's it going there, Ken? I'm Frankie. I'm the guy that sent you the invite.
What's up, Frankie? How you guys doing?
Good.
Frankie, Mad Dog, and Max.
That's just part of our crew. We still got a few more people coming in because I got a big Big Crew, and tonight's our season 5 finale episode. So
Gotcha.
And we're proud to have you on, brother. Proud.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we were going to do something a couple weeks ago, but I figure, since we didn't get a chance to do anything then, I wanted to wait until if we could do something like this week, because I didn't know what your schedule is, because it's Thanksgiving week, so I figured maybe you're just taking some time off or doing everything for the holiday or whatever. But hey,
Always working. There's no time, no days off.
That's good.
Seems like it. You've been kind of going on a lot of I've been following you on a lot of the podcasts lately. It's from one podcast to another. So I figured, well, I know we don't rate up to those guys' levels, but we're still something.
But someday
Hey,
we'll be there getting guys like this on. Damn right.
Everybody starts somewhere, like fucking. We all got to look out for each other and try to help each other out. So that's my.
So true.
Absolutely. Well, we're honored to have you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Frankie Sloss's Renegade Radio. It's a season 5 finale episode. We're on episode number 15, and if you're paying attention at all, episode number 86 chronologically. We're about 14 episodes away from our 100th episode. But I figure, we need to kick off the finale episode, kind of like how we kicked off the whole first part of the year when we started season 4. I hear some background too, by the way. Somebody noticed the background. Is anybody?
Yeah, John Roberts.
Is that John Roberts?
It's my fucking dogs.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I love your dog, so it's fine.
They're down now.
Okay.
They left the office now, so they should be better.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, we are joined tonight by. I mean, what do you call this guy? A living legend, a guy who's wrestled for WWE, wrestled for TNA, one of the biggest names out there that should have got a bigger push. I think in both organizations. I think TNA pushed them farther than WWE did, but no matter what, I'm happy to get this guy on. He is the legendary. You guys used to know him as Mr. Kennedy. Well, tonight he is Stud Muffin here on the StreamYard stream here, but we all know him as Mr. Anderson.
Anderson. Gotta say it twice.
I can't do it as good as he can, but Ken, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me. You should see when I go to get a coffee order and I write that, they ask for my name. And then somebody yells out, Stud Muffin.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, I mean,
the best part is the look they give you when they see who it is to come and get it.
I'm a human being, damn it.
Not what I thought.
And they probably know. They probably see you and recognize right away if they're smart enough. They're like, hey, you look familiar. You look like somebody we should know.
It depends on where we are.
So currently, what you're living in Minneapolis now, and you have been running a school for quite a while.
Yeah, I've lived in Minneapolis actually since I moved over here in 2000. So well before I was in the WWE. But I'm originally from a small town just south of Green Bay, and obviously I'm a huge fan of the Green Bay Packers.
Hey now.
But yeah, I've lived here since 2000, and I've run my wrestling school here since 2016. So it's going on almost 10 years. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Nice. Wow, that's great.
Did you ever think that you were ever going to do that at all in your life? Like one day, just if wrestling kind of took a turn or whatever, or even if it was even better to you than it was, like you were still going to plan to do this?
I knew that it was something that I wanted to do very early on. I wanted to be able to offer a place where people could go and learn the art of professional wrestling and not necessarily have to not have to work as hard as I did, I guess. Not have to make all the mistakes that I made. And there is something to, people still have to hustle. They still have to put in the hard work, but I'm happy to be able to, I know what works in this business and what doesn't work. And I definitely can steer people in the right direction. If you're willing to put in the effort, I feel like I've got a good enough. I've got 25 years of experience in the business, and I've made about every mistake that one can make. And so I guess just in the same way that we hope that our kids will, we can offer our kids like, hey, don't do what I did. Go this way, and sometimes they still have to touch the stove, right?
Right.
Yeah. Why the Twin Cities? I mean, back in the day, the Twin Cities, when you had the Vern Gagne schools and it was a hub of professional wrestling, way back in the day. Is that why, or is there a personal reason that you decided Minnesota?
I just at the time I was breaking into the business, and there were a ton of independent wrestling federations over here. Eddie Sharkey was here, and it just there was only one group in Green Bay, and there were about 8 to 10 in Minneapolis. And I remember coming here the first time and feeling like the only other city that I felt this way about was Nashville, where I looked around and I felt like you could eat off the ground. It's a really clean city. It's fun. There's a ton to do. So I just love the city, and I just felt like it was a no-brainer to come over here and set up.
Cat. My name's Mad Dog. I was a professional wrestler, but not as much as you and Max were. But I did the local stuff. I wanted to stay local because I had a family. But I recently was put into the Pittsburgh Hall of Fame with Bruno Sammartino and Giorgio.
Oh.
So I worked enough to do what I had to do to get to where I was. But when I grew up, studio wrestling was our game. And I watched the WWF with Bill Cardille was the guy who sat ringside. And I grew up in a neighborhood with the Fazio and Ronnie Hook was Rocky Romano, and all the guys grew up in Mount Washington where they were all professional wrestlers. So that's why I wanted to be one so bad. I wanted to follow them guys' footsteps. So I went to Beppo Mongo's school, out on Rod 8 here in Pittsburgh. And I tell you what, it wasn't no day and night classes, boy. We got woken up with a chair, and everything else. It was a tough school. But I wouldn't have gave it. I love it. I just miss every day that I'm not in the ring. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
I was a weekend warrior. I didn't get beat up as much as you guys, but God, watching you on TV, you were my idol. You're in the background on my thing. If you can see that, I admire you so much. Your ring savvy was amazing. Same with Max. When Max come on the panel, I was just like, my God, I loved him, Max Payne. You guys, I idolized you. Even though I did it in a smaller, let's just say I didn't get my ass kicked every day. I didn't have broken bones like you got. I still got 2 knee replacements. I still got some problems with my hands. I can't straighten none of them. But it was in a smaller scale, but I admire you guys so much. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry if I took too much time saying what I had to say.
That means the world to me.
Me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, brother.
So, Ken, where'd you break in?
Go ahead, Max.
Ken, where'd you get your start? Who was the guy that smartened you up to the business and took you down that road and put you under his wing and said, "Okay, I'll teach you the business"?
It was 2 guys actually out of Green Bay, and their names were Mike Mercury and Eric Hammers, and they were two independent guys who had, at the time, I think Mike had 4 or 5 years of experience on his own. They just happened to be, they got broken in the right way, and they understood the psychology and how important psychology was in our business.
Right.
And there were a few things that very few things they sort of steered me in the wrong direction on, but it wasn't intentional. It was, it's actually kind of funny. I remember early on he taught me the worker handshake, right? The little light handshake.
The office handshake.
Oh yeah, the two finger thumb fan.
For those who don't know, it's like I guess back in the day, to ensure that somebody actually was in the business, if like I walked up to you on the street and said, "Hey, I'm a wrestler too," and I went to shake your hand, and I'd shake your hand very, very lightly. To the naked eye, it doesn't look like it looks like we're shaking hands normally. But if I shook your hand with a really firm grip, you would know, like, oh, this guy's lying. He's not in the business, right?
This guy ain't a worker.
So I remember I did that. What's that? So anyway, one day I went and got extra work for WWE, and I went to the gym one day, and it was right after I was at a Bally Total Fitness. It was the morning before a SmackDown taping, and I remember Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn had just come over from WCW, and they were at the gym. And I walked up. I was so nervous. I wanted to make a good impression, so I walked up to Dean, and I was like, "Can I swear on here, by the way?"
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I better make sure first.
Oh yeah.
And, I walked up to it, and I shook his hand, and I gave him that weak handshake or whatever, and he was like, "Jesus Christ, these fucking kids today, they think they shake hands like a pussy. That means they're in the fucking business." And I was just so like embarrassed, And it turns out that people don't do that anymore. Like, it hasn't been done. I still every once in a while will run into people in certain locker rooms that still do it. But I remember one time seeing a local guy over in England walk up to Vince and shake his hand that way. And Vince like stopped him and said, "Come here for a second." And he's like, "Shake my hand like a man. We don't do that anymore." So
that's amazing, man. How was it meeting Chris? Did you end up getting along good with Chris?
Yeah, I did. Yep. He was he was helpful, very helpful to me. But that was aside from that one thing, the guys that trained me were amazing. And I remember my trainer used to come over. One of the guys, Eric, used to come over to my house every Wednesday night with a box of tapes. Because at the time, VHS tapes were big, Right. He'd come over with this box of tapes, and we would just plug. And it was AWA, it was NWA, it was old WCW, old WWF, like just breaking down matches and trying to understand psychology.
Yeah.
So,
so
what was your first territory then? When did you like hit the road and like, doing it every day from that point forward?
Probably it was like, I didn't feel like I really achieved that for the first 2 years. Like the first year I was kind of limping along. I had a job that I had to work every other weekend at. So I turned down a lot of bookings. Every booking happens on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for the most part. So there was a lot of bookings that I was turning down, but I was working, one or 2 weeks or one or two shows a month for the first year, maybe year and a half. And then I really started branching out. I moved over to the Twin Cities. So I started training at Eddie Sharkey's school, and and just really started trying to get booked every single weekend. And then I met Sean Davari, and it turns out we had very, very similar interests and very similar ideas as to how to be successful and what we wanted out of the business. So we just started trying to get booked as many places as we could, and we were trying as hard as we could to figure out, okay, what does WWE want? That's where I want to go. I want to work for WWE. How do I do that?
Okay. I remember when you were talking about the tapes and everything. Were they all like old Coliseum videotapes and stuff, or were they like recorded tapes of episodes of like Raw and SmackDown and stuff? Or
A little
or
of both.
Okay.
Yep. There was a local tape trader who, he could pretty much get anything that he wanted. And it was anything from, like I said, AWA to old studio wrestling, Memphis Championship Wrestling, IWA Mid-South, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Wow. So you were more in the library than just your typical stuff that you see in a video store.
Definitely.
Because most video stores, around majority of areas only just had the stuff from WWF or WCW or both.
And that's the thing. When I broke in, I didn't know that all this other stuff was out there. Like I was very, very. I didn't watch wrestling as a kid. This wasn't something that I loved and yearned to do from the time I can remember. I actually didn't like wrestling. I thought it was stupid. And it wasn't until 97, 98 when I started watching and Austin was doing his thing. And I was just I got hooked just because of what he was doing. And then I begrudgingly was like, well, okay, Undertaker, he's pretty cool too. And then, oh, all right, these guys are, it was just slowly but surely I was like, oh my God, I'm missing out on. And I've been missing out for so long. And then when Eric started coming over to my house weekly with that big box of tapes, I just ECW, ECW was a huge thing at the time. I didn't know that it existed before I broke in.
So what were some of your early memories from when you first started? Because I heard stories about how you kind of started out, what was it, maybe Velocity or something like that, and you kind of did some squash matches. When did you finally actually get your first real match on TV?
So I did extra work for WWE for about 5.5 years. And it was just, every few months I would get booked somewhere, usually Green Bay, Milwaukee, Chicago, that area, those cities. And then I just kept getting booked, and there's probably 12 matches from Velocity or Sunday Night Heat. And then there was probably another half a dozen matches that I had that were just dark matches that were never televised. And it wasn't until 2005 I was at OVW, and I had been signed to OVW, and I started doing the announcer thing. I started, Paul Heyman sort of said, hey, go out there, cut the ring announcer off, do your own introduction. And I did it. I hit my last name twice, which was a big hit in the back. And you know that if it's a big hit in the back, it's going to be a big hit with it.
It was a big hit everywhere. Everybody loved it when you did that. It was like old time boxing when they used to hit it twice like that.
Right. Yeah, and that was sort of where I got the idea.
Wasn't Jim Cornette all against you doing anything? He didn't even want you in the picture, did he? No. I've said before that Jim didn't necessarily see anything in me, but it wasn't like an active. He wasn't trying to hold me down or anything like that. It was just there were 60 other men and women that were trying to get called up to the active roster that were working for OVW, and I just wasn't presenting anything to him. It wasn't a personal thing at all. In fact, he had just sort of started to take a liking to me, I think, the week before he got removed from writing for OVW. So, and then when Paul Heyman came in, it was Paul was definitely a fan of my work. And Paul said, we're going to do so much stuff with you that you are going to be the next guy out of here. And I was. So that was cool.
5 weeks after Paul Heyman started, I was making my debut on Velocity against Funaki.
Wow.
Yeah, it said when Paul Heyman says you're going to be like a Stone Cold Steve Austin and a Rock, that's saying something, buddy.
Oh, yeah. No, see that's what was so nice about your style of performance, because it's like to see somebody who cared that much about not only just the wrestling ability, but to have a good promo. That tells a lot about your character. Because nowadays in wrestling, if you can't talk, I mean, yeah, okay, sometimes it's always the quiet ones that also perform better sometimes. But I
Sure.
think everybody can be able to say a promo, because you got to learn to sell yourself. You know?
You really do. It really is important. It's something that I try to help my students. You know, we do promos. I always stress to them that they should have a back pocket promo, a promo that's ready to go, that's sort of generic in the sense that it can be, you know, you can be booked in any given town, and a promoter can come up to you and say, like, can you cut me a quick promo introducing yourself? Or you're going to have a match with this guy, and you should be able to go. You should be able to do it.
Sure. Just real quick here, I'm still hearing a background noise from somebody. Does anybody have any noise playing at all in there, or they're around them at all? Anybody? Because it's kind of annoying. I don't know. Ken, can you hear that at all?
Oh, I can hear it for sure.
Okay. It's not coming from you at all?
Yeah, I'm here.
I would be. It would be at all.
Did it start before I came on or after?
Before.
Because I
I
can't hear
think
it.
you might be the culprit.
My wife's watching TV downstairs, but she does every time we're on the show, and it's never been an issue.
No,
I'm up
we
in the
can't
loft.
hear that. It wasn't.
Just look around you and just to see, because I know Sam's normally the culprit, but he's muted himself. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear Ken very well, and so that we don't have any
Yeah, I
extra.
can hear well.
Okay.
Coming in good.
I'm here dumbfounded and listening, my friend. I just been soaking
Okay,
it all.
well, I just want to make sure, because this is a very special time period of time. So.
It's not too often you shut up the Mad Dog, and you're doing a good job of it.
Well, Ken, I want to introduce you to Max Payne as well. He is one of my crew members, but I don't, to strive up your wrestling knowledge. He actually was a former WCW wrestler as Max Payne, where he teamed with Cactus Jack many times and took out the Nasty Boys. He also was Man Mountain Rock in the World Wrestling Federation. Are you familiar with his work at all?
Meet you too, brother. Been on.
Have you seen his work at all before, or familiar with anything at all? Or?
The name sounds familiar, but it's been a minute. I'm definitely gonna go look some. I'm definitely gonna look some stuff up after this.
It's funny because you brought up Funaki, and so the reason I brought up Chris earlier is because I broke in the New Japan dojo, and Funaki was one of the guys that was in the dojo. Funaki, Nogami, Chono, Hashimoto, Fabius Muto. All of those guys were the Justin Liger. Those guys were all the temporaries I was in the dojo with. So when you brought up Funaki, I know that name. So
he was he was the first guy that I worked with. I think it was Frankie had asked earlier, like, or maybe it was Max. You asked, like, what was my first match, and it was against Funaki. It was supposed to be a dark match. They just wanted to. I remember Dreamer had called me up that week, and he said, "Hey, they want you to come to SmackDown. They want to see your gimmick." But it was just like they were taking a look at it, and so we planned this match out. I remember Fit was our producer, our agent. And the finish was to be Funaki, Fit Finley, yeah.
I was in Germany with him for 2 years too.
He's one of my favorites. One of my favorite people, just in general. But
he actually is solely responsible for starting my gimmick in a couple of ways. But keep going. Yeah, he was huge in my life.
So it was. That's amazing. It was supposed to be a super kick finish. Funaki was going over, and I'm in gorilla position, and I'm doing push-ups, and I'm just kind of psyching myself up a little bit. And Dave Lagana, who was the head writer of SmackDown, comes running around the corner, and he's like, "There's been a change." And immediately my head goes to, okay, they canceled the match, which happens. TV day, the dark matches are plug and play, like take them or leave them, right? Like sometimes they need them, sometimes they don't. And I just assumed that on this day they don't need it. Okay, cool. I'll get another opportunity. And he was like, actually, this is going to be a televised match. We need to come up with a finisher for you because you're going over. And welcome aboard. And he like stuck his hand up and welcome aboard. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then Fit was like, well, what do you do? and I was doing a swanton at the time for a finisher, which I couldn't do a swanton because Jeff Hardy was still with the company. And so I had done a Finley roll. I would do a Finley roll just standing in the ring, but I had also done one time to Austin Aries off the second turnbuckle. And I was like, what do you think about that? And Finley loved it. Obviously, it was a tribute to him. And then Funaki's eyes just got huge. He was like, because it seems like super dangerous. It looks dangerous. It's scary. And I said, I promise you, dude, like if you hold on to me, just hold on to me super tight. I'll take care of you. I'll set you down gently. And he was like, okay. And he trusted me. Thankfully, Funaki trusted me in that moment. And the thing is I had been around enough. They had seen my face so many times as an extra that they sort of knew that I was somewhat trustworthy, or I wouldn't have been used repeatedly. And so, yeah, that was it. Then I went out and did that. I came back through the curtain after that finisher. And, that was another thing that Vince was like super, super happy. He gave me a big thumbs up, a big smile. And a lot of people start when you're working for WWE, and at the time when you're working for Vince, you come through that curtain and you immediately look at Vince. And if he doesn't say anything to you, okay, whatever. But if he gives you one of these, like you're good to go.
Yeah.
I would imagine him being honest to you. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's no good.
You don't want that one.
What did that one again?
He's got the fucking headset on.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give you a crown or something like that.
Yeah.
Come here.
That's just a death right there is what that one is.
What the fuck were you thinking?
Oh yeah. Well, the funny part about that story is I hope that from that point forward, every green guy that you ever fucking worked with, you said, make sure you do push-ups in the gorilla position from that day forward.
So when it comes to kind of like, thinking about your career, not only in WWE, but in TNA, I mean, where do you think you got the biggest push? Because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we don't know about that only you know about, and that the WWE knows about that they could have done better with you. Because I feel like they saw you as a commodity, as somebody who could make them a lot of money, but then they kind of fucked around with your career. I feel like they could have, like, they took your money in the bank away from you, which I thought was horseshit. Regardless of the deal, there's no reason why you couldn't have been a major champion over there. Do you think TNA treated you a lot better than WWE, or was it kind of similar?
TNA definitely treated me better. TNA gave me a blank. They would hand me a script, whether it was Vince Russo or whoever was writing at the time. Like, they would hand me a script and say, this is an outline. These are bullet points. You don't have to say this exactly, but just this is where we need to get to. This is the business of the match. And WWE was a lot different. Although I did have a lot of like really, really amazing I felt like WWE was start, stop. You know, I would just get started and then I'd get an injury or I'd get in trouble or, you know, something would happen. I literally, I won the Money in the Bank briefcase and I went and I did a photo shoot. I was on the cover of the magazine and I remember having a walkthrough of Titan Towers with Shane McMahon, and Shane was like, "We're getting ready to strap the rocket ship on you," and you know, and then I worked a match, and then after a SmackDown taping, Vince called me into his office and said, "Hey, we were planning. Taker was the champ at the time, and he said we were planning on having Taker as our champion for a really long time. However, he tore his biceps and he needs to have surgery. So we're going to next week on SmackDown, which is 7 days from now, right? 7 days from now, we're going to have you come out." And he laid out this scenario of how Undertaker was going to have a match and he was going to barely squeak by. And then somebody was going to come out and beat him up some more. And then I was going to come out and basically cash into my briefcase and pick the bones. 1, 2, 3. And we have a new champion.
Sure.
And
Oh man, that'd be cool.
we shook hands. We literally shook hands. I left and I went out. And it's the funny thing is like I'm not a big when something like that occurs to me or somebody tells me that this good thing is going to happen to me, I don't get excited about it because I know that it can be taken away. Believe that half of what you see and none of what you hear in the business, right? Like people will tell you all that, oh, we're getting TV. How many times has everybody heard we're getting TV, right? And I went out that night with Michael Cole and I can't remember. He was in talent relations, Mark Carano. And I didn't even really hang out with those guys. We just happened to be in the hotel lobby and they were like, "Let's go." And they happened to know about it. They were one of a few people that knew that was going to occur. And so they were like buying shots, like, "Here you go, kid. You deserve it. Here's to you." And I was like, "We shouldn't be celebrating. It's too early." Yeah. And the next time I wrestled, I took a bump on a house show. And it literally, like, Batista gave me a clothesline. There was nothing that he did, nothing that I did. I took a regular flat back bump, and I felt something in my tricep pop. And I rolled out to the floor, and I felt pain, and I started seeing everything swell up. And by the time I got downstairs to the locker room, it was already turning colors. And yeah, and then I got an MRI, and they said, "You tore your triceps, so you have to have surgery now." And then Steph called me and she was like, "Well, we still need to get the title off of Taker, so we're gonna send the jet to pick you up. You're gonna fly to Penn State for Raw tonight. Edge is gonna challenge you for the briefcase, and then he's gonna go on and do everything that you were supposed to do."
Oh man.
Okay, cool, whatever. Business, you know, them's the breaks, right? Like, it is what it is. So I go and I do all that, and then we shake hands. I leave. They change my flight to I fly to Birmingham, Alabama. I'm going to get surgery right away so that I can start rehabbing right away. And I'm sitting on Dr. Andrews' table, and he's got my tricep in his hand, and he's going like, that's not a tear. Yeah, that doesn't feel like a tear. And I was like, "Excuse me?" And yeah, it wasn't. It turned out that it was just a bunch of broken blood vessels, and it was a big bruise.
Oh my God!
And you missed the fucking championship just because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
Wow.
But
I thought I had bad luck.
You know, Ken, I looked your name up today because I wanted to at least have some background on you. And I did. One of the first things that I read was, and this same kind of thing happened to me, but I'd like you to talk about it because one of the first things that they brought up just in the main nomenclature of reading about you is the deal with Randy Orton and then John Cena. Apparently, you want to talk? I mean, is all of that true? Because it sounds like you're fucking behind the scenes.
Yeah, no. What the latter part of that is the actual truth. I never hurt those guys. I never did anything to hurt those guys. It is, I don't exactly know what the reasoning was, but I do remember, like, I worked Cena, and he gave me a hip toss, and he tore his pec. And you can watch that tape back. You can study it. You can slow it down. You can look at it from different angles. It just looks like a regular hip toss, but he somehow blamed me for that. And, he blamed me, like, in wrestling hurts.
Yeah, no shit.
Very painful. Like, where it's dangerous. There are times where you're going to get a boo-boo every once in a while. It just happens. And so it was just crazy. We got back through the curtain with the Cena thing, and he was like in front of the boss publicly, like, you shot on me. I don't do shoot moves. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And it is what it is. And then the Randy thing, you can clearly see, you can slow that tape down. His head never touches the mat. So,
yeah, that's it. So, that's that. I just wanted to address that because, once you get that fucking shit happening in the dressing room, there are some things that are really fucking tough to overcome.
And that's one of them. One of them.
That's a tough one right there.
And I had a couple people. I remember Steve Austin called me one day and said, "Get out of there, kid." He's like, "You got some, just get out of there. Go to TNA. Go to Japan. Get over there. Just get away from WWE for a while. You can always come back."
Wow. So he knew it. He was hearing the same shit.
It sounds to me like WWE, from all the even different guests, it sounds like it was just a big violent soap opera over there.
Oh, it is.
Backstage, right? Not only in. Yeah,
it's true.
With that being said, though, like, it's also like, it's not like that. It's only like that with a few people. Everybody else just wants to work and have fun, and it's a really cool job. And I would say 99% of the boys and girls in the business are cool, are straight, just
absolutely. They just want to go to work every day and do their fucking job and fucking take care of each other in the ring. I've really met so few people that would ever intentionally fucking try to hurt you in fact, I don't know it.
And like, when it happens, it happened. Like, I remember one time being in the ring with somebody who was a really, really good friend of mine, and we were trading. It was at the tail end of the match. I was just getting ready to mount my comeback. And so we were trading, going back and forth, right? And punch for punch. And he just punched me right in the eye. And I immediately, and he was like, "Sorry." And no worries. No problem. I came back, got stitched up. My eye was swelled shut. Oh,
right, I got another one.
I'm so sorry. It's not a big deal. It's okay. It's wrestling. Sometimes wrestling hurts. Like,
it's just a fucking deal, man. And
yeah, I remember I got hit in the back of the head with a chair one time, and it busted me open. And I was so mad. I was laying there. I'm like, I'm gonna cuss him out as soon as we get through the curtain. And then, like, I got through the curtain. And I was like, it's fucking wrestling. And he immediately was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's cool, bro. Whatever. I know you didn't do it intentionally.
Right.
Very, like you just said it, Max. Like, very, like, I personally I can't even think of any times that I know of where somebody intentionally did something to somebody in the ring.
You know, the other side of that too is, Ken, I think you'll agree with this, is you kind of, this may sound really masochistic, but you kind of fucking wear that shit when you get hurt in the ring as a badge of honor, because, you know, even back then, you fucking, you know, people were constantly going, oh yeah, wrestling, of course, you know, I watch that shit on TV all the time. Yeah. Is that shit fake? And then they see you and you got a black eye and you got fucking stitches and you got fucking your hair shaved off where you know, you got stitches and you can't fucking lift your shoulder, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, fucking wow, you know.
I remember, you know, it's funny you say that, because is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in the business was I worked Batista at the Great American Bash, and at the end of the match, he's supposed to like lose his shit and stomp the shit out of me in the corner, and then he doesn't obey the ref's 5 count, and so he gets disqualified, and then he just keeps stomping on me, and then he's supposed to throw me into the post a few times and give me a couple spine busters and then a power bomb. And on the very first, when the ref DQ'd him and he ran me into the post. So I'm already, you know, if you're throwing me into the post, I'm already going there.
Right.
And, you know, but you don't have to physically actually throw me. It's sort of a pantomime. Well, just for whatever reason, sometimes you get a little excited, a little amped up, and he gave me a little too much. And I just could not, like, I'm going this way and I can't go like this. And my head just hit that post so hard, and I just was pouring blood. And I remember he immediately was like, oh my God. He goes, let's just go home. And I was like, nope, keep going. And so he posted me again, and then I had to take 3 spine busters, and everyone, he was like, are you sure? Yep, I'm good. And then we got to the back, and I walked through that curtain, and I'm just covered head to toe in blood. And I walked through, and Vince was like, and I was like, was that okay for you, boss? And he was like,
are you fucking ribbon? Yeah.
How was it like wrestling with Eddie Guerrero? I love that one match when he played possum. He took the chair and hit the ground. And he threw it up to you. Wasn't that for like one of the teams for Survivor Series or something?
That was a SmackDown. That was just a SmackDown match. But
SmackDown match. I loved it when he used to do that. But I remember watching that match clear as day. When he pretended like you hit him with the chair, and the referee turned around just in time when he threw the chair in your hands.
Well, it's about 20 years ago, Eddie, though, so
that was 20 years ago. That was Eddie's last match, actually. That thing you're talking about.
Was it really? How close were you with Eddie Guerrero? Close? I
was riding with him at the time. I was actually
cool.
You know, and I wasn't close with him necessarily. Like I was the green kid that asked, hey, can I ride with you guys? I just wanted to soak up as much knowledge as I could from those guys. So
yeah, of course.
And he was gracious enough to say, yeah,
you're
doing all the driving, but yeah.
Well, you also were riding with I heard you rode with Chris Benoit, and I'm sure, you know, wrestling wise, I mean, he was always nice, fun to be around, I'm sure. You know?
Yeah, that was the same time I had asked you know, it was Batista. Batista had pulled me aside and said, you know, the nice thing about when I got to SmackDown, I felt like everybody there was looking out for me. Everybody was nice. And it wasn't just me, but anybody that came up. It was like, and Batista pulled me aside and was like, look, those guys you're in the car with, because I was riding with some guys from OVW that had just gotten called up onto the road. And he was like, no offense to them, but you need to get in the car with a veteran. You're going to learn so much from being in the car with those guys. And so I just like, yeah, you're right. And I immediately went over and I asked Chris, can I ride with you guys? And and then, you know, 20 minutes later, he came back and he was the one that said, yes, Eddie says you can ride with us, but you're doing all the driving. So it was a lot. It was, you know, and it was pretty short-lived. It was only like 3 weeks. Because after he passed away, then it was like Chris even said, like, I need to be with, you know, he wanted to ride with like Chavo and those guys.
Do you think you would have rode together longer had he not passed away?
I mean, that was the plan for me. I don't know about those guys, but
Okay.
I think so.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about your school, because you being so dedicated to the wrestling business, being one of the lucky ones to actually start an actual training school. Tell us a little bit about like the early beginnings, and also like have you had some success with anybody getting into like AEW or WWE or any of the major organizations that are around?
Yeah, no. As I said before, it was something that I knew that I wanted to do early on, and I wanted to make it as easy on my students as possible to learn how to do this properly. And that's one of the things that I pride myself on. It's not I am not in the business of getting people to sign up and do a quick training course and then kick them out the door. I want people to stick around. I feel like we have students who have been with us since the beginning. One of our our very first graduate is on TV every week for AEW. He's Darius Martin. Dante and Darius were like Darius was the first. Darius was the first graduate, and Dante is like this 15th or 16th graduate. And those guys still come whenever they can. When Darius lived in town, which he just recently moved out to Vegas, but like he would come sometimes more than like brand new students. But yeah, we train 4 nights a week. We train year round, so it's when you sign up for a course, it's you're signing up for 1 year of training. And,
do you have a local promotion, Ken, that you so these guys can go out and work some matches, or do you do it yourself? Do you have a local little promotion you do?
I personally am not promoting is not in my wheelhouse. It's a lot of stuff that
it's a tough gig.
Yeah, it really is. Like, however, there are about 10 different wrestling promotions that are local where my student, and we have a very good working relationship with them. So when the students are ready, it's like an open door policy, kind of like, hey, and I, from time to time, I'll have these promoters reach out to me and say, who you got coming up? Who can I use? I need a couple extra bodies. Who you got for me? And you know what? And sometimes I have to tell them like, there's nobody yet, because I'm very, very picky. Like I always tell my students, like, you gotta wait for me to give you the approval before you start taking bookings.
Yeah, I mean, they can get hurt. Not only can they get hurt, and that would be number one, but number two, they're coming from your school. They have to represent your school too. So
yeah, and they can hurt somebody else too. Like not only can they hurt themselves, but I don't want them hurting anybody else. And also, I always tell them, like, I'll ask a student, like, how old are you? And 22. Okay, well, you've waited 22 years without having a wrestling match. You can wait another 6 months to make sure that your first wrestling match is good. Because one of the things that I pride myself on, and I feel like for the most part it's occurred, is when one of our students finally does have his or her first match, oftentimes somebody will say, hey, how long has that kid been working? And somebody says, that's his first match. And I want that type of reaction every time.
Yeah, of course.
Say, being in Minnesota, I would imagine you get a lot of high school, college athletes in various sports that come to your school. I'm wondering if you get any hockey players or ex-hockey players, because back in the day, when junior hockey days and stuff, I mean, I graduated in the early 80s, 83. But if I remember right, like Marty Jannetty, and I want to say Shawn Michaels, but they were actually old junior hockey players. So I'm just wondering if you get any ex-hockey players in the school and how often.
You know, it's funny you say that. The only hockey player that we've ever had was a Canadian guy that came. And yeah, so
That's odd being in Minnesota.
yeah, he sounds like a Minnesotan.
Well, John,
Yeah.
actually, for we get the Destination Pro stuff up here. I'm sure Josh Kappas or Josh Price. He runs Destination Pro up here in northern Minnesota, and he actually books you guys NDS.
Yep.
Levy Cruz and Riley
yeah.
Jackson. They were the tag team champions, and they are pretty impressive. He's booked them a bunch of times for past events, and they're a fan favorite over here.
Those guys are great. We have a good track record. I feel like I've got some great students that are tearing it up on the independent wrestling scene. There's a couple others that are coming up. There are some that have just started that I feel have tons of potential. And somebody had asked earlier about any of the if any of our students have had any success besides Darius and Dante. Tiffany Stratton trained with us for the first 6 months. Cal Bloom, who wrestled in NXT as Von Wagner, who is Wayne Bloom's son, Wayne the Train, from the Beverly Brothers. Who else? Julia Hart. If you follow AEW, Julia Hart's one of our students.
Yep. Okay. Wow. So you have had some success and all that kind of, and it must make you feel good just to know that you helped these guys and gals out, because it's like, this is now for anybody that joined your school. I mean, what do you require of them in the very beginning? Like, what do they got to know, to be in your school?
They have to have a passion. They have to have a desire, and they have to be coachable. They have to listen. They got to pay attention to detail. I don't care. I don't run people through they don't have to pass a skills. Obviously, you have to be able to do certain things in order to be in this business. But I am not in the business of telling somebody, of running somebody through a series of drills and going, yeah, sorry, you don't have it. I let people arrive at that on their own. I let people arrive at that conclusion on their own, and I'm happy that I do it that way. And one of the things is that I had a student who was in my very first class, or maybe it was my second class in 2016. He had 3 left feet. This guy could not run the ropes, couldn't bump. I mean, he struggled on everything. He bought a 10-pack of private training sessions and was coming in privately, and we were working on things and trying to get him, and it just wasn't clicking. And he said, I don't think I'm cut out to be a pro wrestler, but I love the business. I want to contribute to it. What say I do managing or reffing? And we immediately shifted his training to reffing. And he's he works all the time. He travels, he knows what he's doing. He's a great referee. So I always say, like, not everybody's cut out to bump and feed, but if you love this business, if you want to contribute in some way, there's something for you to do, whether it be a manager or a referee or a writer or a promoter. Like I think three of our students, three people that have come through who didn't make it necessarily, right? Didn't go through the entire course, but they were promoters. So they wanted to be a promoter and they wanted to learn the business. One of the most frustrating things about wrestlers, or for wrestlers, is that promoters are oftentimes like just big kids with money who just like, look, it's, when they're kids, they play with the action figures in the wrestling ring and, this guy, and then they're doing it with real people as a promoter. And so it helps the wrestlers a lot if the promoters understand the business and understand like what we do in storytelling.
Well, Ken, we definitely appreciate having you on, and I really do appreciate that we're
Man,
able
what
to
a
make
great
this
night.
work. I mean, first of all, because I mean, this was just great. I have one last question for you, and this is kind of a personal question, but I figure I ask this to everybody that's in the wrestling business or anyway that's kind of become kind of that legendary status. You know, even if you don't feel like you have, but we all know that you have. You know, your name is everybody can say your name, and everybody knows who you are. What do you think the legacy of Ken Anderson will be?
I hope that people realize that, like, not only was I able to get in the ring and tell stories, and you know, my goal is to put the other guy over, right? I just wrestled James Storm for Juggalo Championship Wrestling for JCW this last weekend. My goal in that match was to put him over, to make him look good, and his goal was to make me look good. You know, and I hope that I just hope that I achieved that. And I hope that I'm able to pass this on to as many people as possible. Like, if everything came to a screeching halt tomorrow, if tomorrow something happened and a doctor said you can never wrestle again, I've had a really good career. I'm pretty happy with the things that I've done. I've met some amazing people. I've done some crazy things that I still pinch myself. Like, I can't believe I did that. And I just want to share that with as many people as possible, honestly. So.
All right. Well,
Great
we appreciate you sharing a little bit of your life with us, and I mean, honestly, this has been great. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Kennedy.
If you don't mind, I'd love to, like, my number, if anybody's interested in either booking me for one of these or a wrestling show, or if you're in the Twin Cities area or you want to relocate to the Twin Cities, please text me. It's my number, as Frankie can attest
Well, yeah.
to.
Now that we know that you are who you say you are, because I was kind of worried about it at first because of how we made this happen. I wasn't sure. It's like, oh, you got to be kidding me, but no, it worked out, and I'm very happy about it. I do appreciate it.
My number
Frankie,
is.
You got his number?
I have his number.
I'll give it out right now. It's 507.
Pop it up. You can do it.
507-722-2776. Please text me.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
One more time. 507-722.
2776.
Now, Mama T, it's not a date. A phone call you can make a date on. This is a really, to book them on. You hear me?
Yeah, he's a married man.
All right.
All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you, Ken, and much success to you in the future, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of
thank
you.
you, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Pleasure.
Yes, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, we'll be right back. We're going to start hour number 2 here in just a little bit. Take a little quick break, and we'll be right back with
That was
more of
cool.
Frank Slauson.